Okay. All right, guys. Tonight we have Manny Watkins, who's 4-star qualifying. She is a Success Club 10 legend, right? 2 years.
Almost. I'm an all-star. I'm at about 15 a month right now, but close enough.
So, well, that just goes to show Success Club is a huge focus in Manny's business. I don't want to go too much into her story because she's going to tell you her story, but I got to work with Manny a lot when she was a new coach and as she built her business. And to be honest, it's just amazing to see her go. She has so much passion and emotion behind her business that it's scary sometimes. It's almost like, oh my gosh, I can't handle it. Like, me and Manny were success partners for about a year. And you guys know I kind of went through some stuff and I almost stepped back from my business for a little while. And I'll say, like, in the past 3 months that, 3 to 6 months since working with Manny, I have seen her take on this crazy focus and have grown her business. She has coaches under her going Diamond, Star Diamond. Like I said, she hits Success Club 10 by the 15th of every month. She has another call. She'll share that with us, that she tells you how she does it. But tonight I asked her to talk about her story, and how she does her branding of herself. And you guys will understand more once she talks about her story. But she really tells her story in her posts so well. And you don't feel like you're being sold to, or she's identified her niche. But she's done that by sharing things that she loves, and people are attracted to her because of that. So anyway, some of you guys just jumped on. I want you guys to know Manny is rocking her business, 4-star qualifying right now, and she is a Success Club all-star, meaning she's hit Success Club for over a year straight. And she tonight is going to talk about branding. So I'm going to shut up, and I hope you guys have like pen and paper because she's going to give you some steps. She's also going to be available for questions, hopefully.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. No doubt.
Depending on how much time we have. So if you guys have questions at all throughout, just so it doesn't distract Manny, put them in the chat. And then at the end, she can look through the messages and then answer any questions you guys have. So Manny, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to you and let you share your story and your tips tonight for branding. My new coach, I have a lot of new coaches here, how they need to share themselves on social media. So
awesome.
Take it away.
Thank you so much. Now, do you know, am I able to share my screen if I want to share my screen? Okay, perfect. So first of all, thank you so much for, inviting me to do this. It's always an honor to be able to, to just share what I'm doing, and not in an expert way, but just something that has kind of, it's always surreal. You know what I mean? It's always surreal, as Missa will tell you, when you're here versus where you were and you're able to share with people, it's humbling. So I appreciate being here for sure. And so I will try to definitely give you some information that has helped me and my team. And, but before I do that, I wanted to just tell you a little bit about me in case you don't know who I am. So that'll kind of connect the dots for you. I became a coach in July of 2012 when I was a mom to a 2-year-old. I was 60 pounds overweight, gained another 20 pounds within that short time span of realizing I was dealing with some postpartum depression. And so I was carrying about 80 pounds overweight, 2 years postpartum. And I was a full-time social worker in mental health. And I had been for 15 years working with mentally ill population and developmental disabled individuals, adults. So it was a very taxing job, rewarding. I always wanted to help people with taxing. So I found myself just very stuck with my fitness. I was a gym goer before. I mean, I was never that person that didn't work out. I was a gym goer, gym rat during pregnancy. And I just had that mom guilt that I couldn't kick, and I couldn't go back to the gym. So here I was 2 years later, still having the weight that I didn't expect to have gained, and just being stuck and not knowing how I was going to get back to myself, kind of just dealing with all these emotions of trying to juggle it all, taxing job, being a new mom, not liking what I saw in the mirror, not liking how I felt. And so I was introduced to a challenge group. I joined a challenge group reluctantly, and I became a coach simply for the discount. Okay. So I'm giving you like literally the Cliff Notes version of it, so you kind of know a little bit about my story. So I became a coach when it didn't make sense in my head to become a coach, because the way I talked to myself was like, I'm overweight. Who am I going to inspire? This is ridiculous. Like, it was offered to me to become a coach, and I was like, really? Have you seen me? That's how I talked to myself. And so I was like, no, I'm not going to inspire anybody, but I'm doing it for the discount because I thought Shakeology was expensive, pure and simple. And so, like I said, I joined in July of 2012, and I really didn't do anything coaching wise except drink Shakeology and work out myself for about maybe 4, 5, 6 months. And then I started seeing improvements in my health, and cravings decrease. I started seeing gradual progress, and I started kind of thinking, well, maybe I can do something with this coaching thing. So about 6 months into it, I started doing trying to do a challenge group and trying to mumble my way and stumble through it. And I reached out to Missa, and Missa was one of the first people who was a coach that was so gracious in helping me, besides Meg, and supporting and answering questions. And I appreciated that, and that helped me a lot. So I always share that because I think that's so important to share, that, we help each other as coaches, even if we're not on the same, under each other or whatever. So that's it. So I started coaching, and I started trying to run groups, and I started kind of like loving the idea that maybe I could help others, all while I was still working full time. So this is important to kind of note. I spent an hour and a half a day max at night after I'd spend time with my son, work out, spend time with my husband on the business. I didn't have a lot of challengers all the time. People said no to me all the time. I honestly didn't focus on Success Club for the first 6 months of my business, and nothing was happening really. And then I started focusing on it, and stuff started happening. And I remember just making a goal to myself to help others succeed in their fitness. And then a goal on top of that to say, man, wouldn't it be cool if I just can stay home and have more time with my son? And it became very evident because of the support I was getting in challenge groups and the coaching community and the amazing women like Missa and other women I had met through coaching, that here I was stressed on one side of my job, and yet coaching was so supportive. And I was working in a job, not only was it taxing, and the clients were the best part of my job. So you might be like, oh, you worked with dangerous, volatile people. Yes, I did. But I was never injured, thank goodness, in 15 years. What made it worse is the women I worked for. They were very catty and nasty. And the more fit I got, the more nasty and catty they got. And it was ugly. It was ugly. So I was like just undermined, toxic. They were just like, it was just mean. So I was like, here I am trying to do something nice for people to help them lead better lives. These poor, disabled, mentally ill individuals that I'm trying to help. This is what I went to school for. And yet I'm having to deal with this bureaucracy. And on this other side, I'm in this amazing community who supports me and says, you're amazing. You're wonderful. Keep going. You can lose the weight. And I'm like, I'm now living a congruent life. Okay. And I remember one day saying to myself, I'm tired of this. This is ridiculous. Like, my family's getting the last of me. Mrs. heard this, and I will always say it. It's like my family was getting the last of me, not the best of me. So because I was stressed, and it just got to me. And so here I was getting fitter on this side, and the fitter and healthier I got, the more nasty these people got on this other side of my job. And I'm like, I don't need this. I have loans. I went to private school for this education. I'm like, the heck with it. I made it a goal to do this full time. So just so you guys know, my story is a little different, that I jumped off that branch before I knew I could fully succeed as a coach. So I just want to let you know that everybody's story is different with that. I took a chance and I said, you know what? I didn't replace my income when I quit my job in my career in January of 2014. But I had to jump off that branch to say, I'm going to honor my goals and and respect myself enough, because these people are draining me and adding so much toxicity to my life that I'm not going to be an effective coach, and I'm not being authentic to myself. So I was like, I'm done. I'm done with the coach. I'm done with the social work career. And that was a big, hard thing to do, but I was like, I got to do it. I got to do it. I got to believe that I'm going to make this coaching thing a success. But prior to that, I was simply doing it an hour and a half a day. But I got to that point because, and I want to draw that correlation, because of the support I was getting in this coaching community, and because I was so embraced by it, that I was like, you know what? If these people are doing it and they're no different than I am, why can't I do it? Why can't I be happy doing what I'm doing? Why can't I actually be a happy mom, you know? And why should I feel like bad for getting healthy and fit? Because these women are insecure and they're trying to bring me down. So I was like, I don't need it. So I just got done. I was done. And so I quit. I quit my career. I hung it up. I didn't renew my social worker license. I was a licensed social worker in the state of Michigan. And I said, I'm not renewing it because I'm never going back to that. And that was a big deal. That was a big deal for me. So I think it's important for you guys to know that I wasn't that person rolling in the dough, you know, making $1 million. I'm still not. But that, you know, I had to do that to quit my job. I just said, I see so much potential in this business that I have to love what I do. I'm tired of getting up in the morning and dreading going to work. I was done. I was like, I'd much rather fail trying this business that I love than succeed doing something I hate. So I was like, done. So, okay. So that brings me into the branding thing. So I struggled with a lot of, you know, just self-doubt of, you know, how am I going to inspire people? Because I didn't lose the weight overnight. You know, it took me about 3 years to lose the 85 pounds. You know, and I struggle with insecurity and confidence issues of, why would someone want to join my team? Why would someone want to join my challenge groups? All the things that I'm sure a lot of us sometimes struggle with. But I just kept plugging in and doing the things that, you know, Meg and all these coaches would share. Post yourself out there. And that's all I kept hearing. Be yourself. Be yourself. Be yourself. And I was like, I don't know if that's good enough, you know? But it was like, okay, I'll try. And so I just continued. So I'm going to start with the branding piece of it here. I remember just posting from early on my journey. Okay. I wasn't always trying to do the airbrushed version of myself. You know, I was just like, okay, I'm working out. Yep. There's fat rolls. Okay. You know, sometimes I would wear like no over top. I would wear like a tank top, you know, just to be so authentic with myself. That'd be like, yep, I still have fat rolls. This is me, you know, and just because I needed to be authentic with stuff, you know, and I was like, I'm working on getting better. And I pushed myself, and that was hard. That was really hard to do that because I did not like my journey at the time as much, you know, but I did it because that's what I was told to do. So I did. And people started relating to that. People started kind of, you know, I found that people were inspired by the fact that I was a real person, you know, and I started realizing I didn't have to have a six pack. I didn't have to have this perfect life that all my life I grew up thinking I had to be perfect. That's a different story, a different call. And I was like, I'm just going to be myself. And I was at that point in my life, gaining all that weight where I had never been, you know, and I don't mean this to be cocky, but it's like, I feel like growing up, I was always like a size 6. And I always kind of said, well, if anything, I've got my looks to fall back on, no matter how insecure I felt. And I hope this doesn't come across wrong, but it's like, I felt like, yeah, you know, I'm cute. I've got cute outfits. I'm good. Right. But I sometimes lacked that confidence in myself. And when I gained all that weight as a new mom, I feel like God was trying to tell me, work on yourself a little bit more internally. And that was kind of a big thing to be like, okay, I'm going to work on myself. I'm going to go ahead and see what I can offer the world. Heavy. And that was big for me, okay? I mean, I come from a Romanian background where everybody's a size 0 or size 2. So you have to kind of know the background of that and why it's important and why everybody was so perfectionistic growing up. So here I was like, what do I have to offer if I'm not thin? I mean, that was my mentality, you guys. And so it forced me to be like, I'm going to find out what I've got to offer, in spite of the fact that I'm not thin, you know? And it forced me to dig so deep within myself that I had to, I had no other choice but to be myself. That's it, you know, because I wasn't comfortable in my own skin. So I had to just post my struggles and my journey out there. And not even knowing that that it was happening at the time, by doing that, it made me become the person I am today, which is a better person than I've ever been, gosh, in the last 40 years of my life. Okay. So I can tell you that, anyway, struggling with that has probably been the best thing that has ever happened, because I became a better version of me. I became more understanding, less judgmental of myself, of others. And I started realizing that I'm okay with just being myself, but I wouldn't have realized that if I didn't struggle. So that brings me to post your struggles out there, you guys. Wherever you are at this point, you know, maybe you're not dealing with the weight gain I had. Maybe you're dealing with confidence, or maybe you're just completely feeling awesome. Great. Post it. Whatever you're going through, post it. You know, I tell my team this: how do you succeed in this business? And there's no secret sauce. We all know it's about the power of three, doing those daily business activities that seem so insignificant that we're like, no, really, I want to know the secret. It's like, no, really, there's no secret. just do your stuff. But if I were to say there is a secret, which makes people uncomfortable, the secret is literally being unapologetically yourself. And how do you do that in a busy, crowded world of social media where everybody's, you know, adding you to groups and wraps and nails and crap that you don't want to be added to, right? How do you do that? How do you make your presence known? I'll tell you. Okay. But first, I'm going to define what branding is. I'm going to share my screen if that's okay with you guys for a second. Can you guys see that? Okay. Okay, awesome. Miss, am I okay with time?
Yeah, we're doing okay with time.
Okay.
It'll pop up on, I think, everyone's screen when we're down to 10 minutes.
Okay. Do you have 30 minutes?
Yeah, it goes over 30 though, usually.
Okay, perfect. So the brand that attracts the most, and we can hop on again if you need afterwards, but is the brand that's honest, authentic, and trustworthy. What does that mean? And I did this a while ago. So I kind of cited Melanie Mitro and Janelle Summers are great examples. How do you find your brand? You got to just ask yourself how you got to where you are. What is something you struggled with in your life, and how did it contribute to who you are today? What's your story? And this is a tricky one because, you know, we all have different stories. Some stories we share with the audience, some stories we can't just yet. But just kind of ask yourself these questions. I'd be happy to also share this PowerPoint, you guys, too, also. So don't feel like if you miss anything, you won't have it. But that's kind of how you find your brand. And I want to say that these resources and the things that I'm citing here, a lot of it was from being live at conferences with Chalene Johnson and Janelle Summers. Ask yourself, how do people describe you? If you could describe you in 3 words, how would they describe you? Are you adding value consistently? So when you're thinking about branding, and I'm talking about directly correlating it to how you post on Facebook, think about adding value in different ways. And I'll share that in my 7-day branding document that I recently created to give you specifics on that. But you got to ask yourself, are you adding value? And when you're thinking about adding value, don't just think in terms of these amazing resources or these gourmet recipes or whatever. It's like literally value could be like posting this awesome quote that's from Pinterest and you putting your own spin on it. Or, you know, Missa does these awesome vulnerable posts. That's adding value because it's making people think. Maybe you're posting like, how did I organize my closet? That's value. Or maybe, you know, just how you dealt with, you know, organizing your coupons. I mean, it could seem so trivial, but someone's going to find it valuable. And if they do, that's considered adding value, okay? Strategies that form. Have a logo or a brand. You don't have to have a professional one made if you don't want to yet, but just kind of think about what your brand is. Who do you want to attract to you? And maybe ask yourself, who are you attracting to you? Don't try to appeal to everybody. Try to speak to one person. For me, it's moms, women, mostly moms, because that's what I am. I have a 5-year-old and I'm a mom and a wife. So have a vision statement in your head, or just kind of think about how to strengthen your brand, what you represent. So I'm just kind of giving you a little bit of mine. It's like my mission, Team Fit to Be You, is like starting where you stand, accept who you are today, but work on being a better you. And my goal is to help you live on purpose and help you love who you are through sharing fitness, faith, and family ideas. So, you know, again, you don't have to feel like you have to have this perfect PowerPoint marketing plan, but just kind of think about what your brand is. What makes you tick? Strategies that strengthen your brand. Posting on social media consistently. And this is the meat and potatoes of it. Minimum of 3 times a day. If there's one secret thing that I've said, like I said, if there was an ingredient, I would say the fact that I have consistently posted on social media 3 times a day, my life, my goofiness, to give you an example, I'm about fitness, faith, family, fashion, food, gardening. So you want to always think about your 5 interests and post on those interests. Of course, one of them is fitness, but you don't become a one-trick pony when you become a coach. People are drawn to you because of the multifacets that you have, right? Not just because you're just posting fitness. So the things that you are passionate about that are outside of fitness are just as important to post as part of your 3 to 5 times a day as the fitness is, because that's what people are going to be able to relate to with you and say, oh my gosh, I love that organizing tip, or that was a great budgeting tip, or that was an awesome makeup tip. Oh, and look at that cool fitness tip, So by relating and sharing all of the facets of your interest, it draws people to you and makes them realize that you're a human being. I mean, right? Because we don't just become Beachbody coaches. We're people, right? And we happen to love Beachbody and we happen to love the programs. But there's so much more to us. And that part that sometimes coaches miss that, and not our team. I think our team is awesome, that we do it well. But, sometimes you see people are like, oh my gosh, please don't spam your link all over the place. It's not going to attract people. It's going to put them off. What attracts people is you sharing that you just had an awesome day at the park with your kid. And then you post a fitness post. And then you post an awesome food picture. And then something that you did over the weekend. And you're sprinkling things in and people are going to be like real people. Not spammers, not salesy people, So you want to show, so you want to show progress pictures as part of that branding. You want to show progress in different ways. Mindset change. Don't always feel like you have to have this amazing story that you can share. Share progress of, man, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling more positive. Just share yourself and your sentiments out there. If it feels awkward and vulnerable, share it. That's kind of a tip because it's probably going to resonate with someone. Be a walking billboard of fitness, but that doesn't mean you have to be perfect. That means you're a work in progress. And I want to sit on that point for a second because sometimes people think, well, when I reach my goal, I'll be an effective coach. And that's the biggest mistake we can think of making because like that quote says, and it's not my own, but it's like, don't be ashamed of your story. It'll inspire others. Here's the thing. If I look at a 6-pack ab and I'm like, awesome, I'm so far from that. But if I see where they came from and that 6-pack ab, I'm like, oh my gosh, that means I can do it too. So I want you to think of your story as that. If you post your work in progress billboard fitness shots, you're more likely, I believe, to make it accessible to other people that they too can do what you're doing, as opposed to just airbrushing it and posting your afters or your here I am now. So again, it takes you putting yourself out there, but I promise you that vulnerability is going to just be so powerful for people. 12 golden posts to convey your brand. This is from Chalene Johnson, not my own, and she's awesome, but she shared this at Platinum Edge. Sharing resources or tools, favorite book, list, tool. Sharing entertaining videos, preferably uploading them to your page, not YouTube links because they don't get as much visibility. Honoring people. You'll see on Thursdays, a lot of us will be like, shout out to this person for hitting Success Club or for advancing, or maybe it's a challenger shout out. These kind of posts show your brand and help you establish yourself. Question polls. You guys, I literally posted ketchup or no ketchup on your eggs. Seriously, it got like 70 or 80 likes. I didn't even interject anything about 21 Day Fix or like join my challenge group. But what that does is it invites people to give an opinion. So those people who normally wouldn't comment on my fitness posts, they're like, oh, Mandy's asking me about what I like on my eggs. And so they're commenting. And then when they comment, I like their stuff. And it just gives more engagement. And Facebook sees that and they're like, oh, next time Missa posts this or Lori posts this, something else, I'm going to let more people see it. So think in terms of asking questions. Missa does a great job at this too. What do you think about my nails? Or what do you think about, here's my office pictures, just try it. Don't think about the perfect post. Just be like, I don't know, short or long dress for date night. I mean, whatever you can think of, put it out there and ask a poll. People love to give opinions. Upswing post. The weather sucks right now, right? So here's an example. You could be like, man, it doesn't feel like summer, but the good news is there's no snow on the ground. Ha, who agrees? Or something like that. So you're always, if you're going to post something kind of negative, do an upswing. So this was an example. I had this was like a while ago where I was totally sick. I was like, yeah, I usually feel half human again after being sick. Now to entertain Carson, because let's face it, moms, we don't have time to be sick. So again, just an example, just a couple of examples of ways you could take your stressful day and turn it into a way to bless others. I believe that. When I'm having my shittiest, did I say that? Yes, I did. Shittiest day, I always will find a way to bless others. I'm like, today sucks. How can I find a way to put that out there without saying today sucks, but in a way to bless others? And I promise you, if you find a way to share that in a way that's going to add value, you'd be surprised how it changes your mood and it takes you out of that funk, and it also helps other people be like, you're adding value to my life without saying that. Post that save time or money. Missa did something like this a while ago, 52 weeks of saving. Or you could look stuff on Pinterest and be like, I found this on Pinterest. What do you think? How to clean your fridge. Motivational posts, how-to systems, checklists. Again, these are all from Chalene. These are just some ideas that you can intermingle in your 3 to 5 things that you're posting a day. Gratitude post. I'm so grateful for my health. I'm so grateful that I'm able to stay at home, spend more time with my son, whatever. This is who I am post. This could be something you share like, here I was then, here I am now. Here's what's changed. Just so people kind of know who you are. And then invitation posts. And then 1 out of 10 posts should be that. That's when you're inviting to a challenge group, to a coaching post. And so I'm going to say this, and I'm going to get into the 7-day branding. Be unapologetically you, and I'm sorry, that doesn't make sense. And implement all the strategies consistently, and you'll establish a solid brand. And I love this little quote by Steve Martin that says, be so good that they can't ignore you. Okay, 10 minutes. Okay. So I hope that makes sense so far. And it's, that kind of led me, I did this training months ago, but then I thought about how all the new coaches that come on board, I'm like, what is the thing I'm seeing a trend in? And what I was seeing is, how do I bring people to my network? How do I get people to trust me? So I was like, you know what? I bought this book recommended by Meg, Jab, Jab, Right Hook. And I took some elements from that and I created a 7-day branding. And I put this 7-day branding, and I'm going to share this with Missa so she could share it with you guys. I created the 7-day training and that I always put on the front end of any 21-day Smart Start training that I do. And basically what this goes over is, I'm just going to quickly skim over this, is, how to add value. What are the 3 most topics you're passionate about? What are the 5 interests you have? And then I kind of share what mine are. And then I get coaches to think about it. What would you know by, and then I have them look at their last 5 posts, okay? And I say, what would you assume about yourself by looking at your last 5 posts? There's been times I've looked at my page, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's like a whole bunch of fitness posts. That kind of says I'm a one-trick pony. I need to add more stuff, so you got to be honest and really be self kind of critical to look and see, are you intermingling from your 5 list of interests? So step 2, what I have them do is basically identify your 5 things and start posting on them. For starters, 3 times a day, one of them being fitness, the other 2, if you're only posting 3 times, being whatever your other interest. If it's faith, if it's family, post that every single day without fail, consistently. And then I ask coaches to do like a free challenge on their wall. a water challenge. I did that today in one of my groups. Do a water challenge. Post a picture of you and a bottle or a jug and be like, who wants to drink more water with me? You'd be surprised how many people are going to be like me. I mean, simple little things that just help you add value. And it's very subtle, but it helps you establish yourself as a person who is trying to help others. It's very unpushy, very unsalesy, and it's great. Then I have people share a transformation story, whether it's from their own transformation or maybe somebody from their challenge group. And it doesn't have to be major. It could just be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I gave up my soda habit. Or I can't believe my challengers have lost a total of 22 pounds together. You're sprinkling these posts in, okay? And then I teach you guys about, teach my coaches about jabs and hooks, which is in that book, okay? So this is where, I'm sorry, I'm looking at my template right now. And it'll all make sense. There's actual examples in here too of great jabs. So what jabs are, and this is kind of like the meat of it, jabs are sharing interests, okay? Jabs are basically, sorry, I'm looking at it right here. Jabs are lightweight pieces of content that benefit your customers by making them laugh, snicker, or ponder. What does that look like for me? Karaoke, dancing, acting like a fool. I don't know, doing my preach moments, my food pictures, whatever. They're not inviting anybody to anything, but it's keeping people entertained. I'm adding value because people are like, I'm going to go to her page and I'm going to get something entertaining, right? Those are jabs. So hooks are calls to action that benefit your business. And this would be like an invite to a challenge group or an invite to a coaching group, for example. But here's the thing. If you don't jab consistently, when you right hook, people are going to feel like you're trying to sell them. Kind of like telling your story. If you don't establish the foundation, when you give the punchline, no one's going to get it. So basically, if the content you're posting on Facebook provides value, emotional benefit, entertainment to your audience, you're doing the right things. So that means that you're consistently posting daily on social media, jab, or give, and then hook means ask. So right hook should be done about once per week, okay? One for coaching, one for challenge groups. And then I actually have a format here that kind of tells you Monday, jab towards a challenge group. Tuesday, jab towards coaching. Wednesday, hook towards coaching. So it kind of gives you a little formula so that you're able to kind of implement that and say, not only am I posting these jabs and hooks, but in addition, you're still posting daily, no matter if it's a jab or a hook, from your list of 5 interests, if that makes sense. So that you're adding so much value that when you actually throw that hook and you're like, I want to invite you to a challenge group, you have added so much entertainment, so much emotional benefit in some way, so much value to the people that are watching you that they're going to be like, sure, I'll join your challenge group. Of course, it's not going to be like a perfect science, you guys, but honestly, ever since Meg shared that whole jab hook in one of the groups I'm in, I got that book and I'm like, this is money right here. And it's so, it relieves you of stress because you don't always feel like you're inviting. And you'll find that when you do invite, people are more likely to listen. I didn't invent this. I simply duplicated it and put it in a document. And I shared it with my coaches. And it gives them a formula. I feel like it's helped me a lot because I wasn't always doing this. So anyway, that's pretty much all I got. I want to leave some time for questions. So Missa, does this make sense? Do you want to ask questions or?
Yeah, I actually, when you said something about adding like a value, like a challenge, like my team likes to do the water guzzle a bottle of water challenge, but it just started to pick up, so a couple of
love that.
Cool. A couple of us just were like, you know what, we haven't had enough water today, so I challenge you to drink a full bottle of water. And I think like we thought it was a great idea, and then we tried to guzzle a bottle of water, and you're like recording yourself, and you're like, oh man, this is kind of odd. And we all like make those comments. But I have this book on my Kindle, and I'll be honest, I never finished it. So I know you said you would share your
absolutely
training. So I posted in the chat if you guys wanted to do this training. Manny will share it with us, and
absolutely. I'll send it to you right after. And honestly, somebody asked if you have to read the book.
Yeah,
the book is great, but really, I mean, what I extracted from the book is pretty much the main things. You're going
Okay.
to get a lot of jargon and stuff, but if you do the things, I'm not trying to be like, oh, if you do that, you're going to succeed. But I find that I kind of worked on this for about a month, and I feel pretty confident that you can get the book, but the stuff in there is kind of capturing the most important parts of the book.
So pretty much you were practicing this through the time you were reading the book.
I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, I know this book came up on a national wake-up call about a year ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
It came on the scenes, but it didn't really catch fire in Team Fit Addicted. And I think once Meg kind of reintroduced it,
Absolutely.
I was like, I have that book on my Kindle. I just never read it. And it's starting to come around now because social media is so important to our business. So that's pretty much what my question was, because I don't want everyone to feel like to understand this concept. Can they just look at your document, or do you think they need to get the book?
No, absolutely. I would tell you, if the book is great, I'm not going to take away from the book, but I feel like the document, when Meg put that in there, I was like, oh my gosh, this makes sense. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm inviting too much and I'm not adding enough. And when it started clicking in my head and I put it on paper, I was like, this makes sense. And you're adding those jabs in a way that's very unassuming, so that when you invite, people feel like, oh my gosh, Lori's offered me so much. I'm picking on Lori, or let's see, Stephanie has added so much value that I can't help but be like, yeah, I'm gonna join your group. It's crazy, you guys, but it almost takes the pressure from you, where you don't feel, it makes you feel authentic. Because I'm like, I'm gonna ask you what you put on your eggs. That's a jab. It's entertaining, and everybody wants to give an opinion. So I feel like it gave me a formula, and that keeps your mind clear. So I don't feel like you need the book. I don't.
Okay. Well, it's about to shut us down. So I just wanted to say, Manny, what you went over tonight, I think every coach on the call can think of the things that they can start sharing and how to share it. And how to really build this business without popping invites to challenge groups and links everywhere. It's almost just being you. And I think everything you shared tonight hit directly on that. So guys, I will share this recording in the team page, and we will run a group with Manny's document. And you guys can do the jab, hook stuff, and we can practice it. But thank you so much for jumping on, Manny. Thank you so much for speaking tonight. And I'll share the recording with you so you can give it to your team too.
You're so welcome. And I'm going to send you the document on your Facebook, as soon as we hang up.
Thank you. All right, guys. Thank you for
Thanks
getting
so much,
on.
guys.
Have a great night.